Hi, Madeline. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Big congratulations to you on Black Phone 2, which is now
Thank
in
you.
theaters.
Yes.
I have to ask first thing, the Grabber's mask in person, as freaky in person as it is on screen?
I think it's more creepy in person than it is on screen, honestly.
I I would imagine so. Um, Well, I'm sure you've been getting this a lot, but fans going into this might not realize how much bigger of a role your character Gwen plays. And arguably, I think this is really almost Gwen's story. And can you tell me a little bit about when you found out, how big of a role Gwen would play and how you prepared for that?
Yeah, Scott texted me and he said, "Okay, Maddie, we finished the script for Black Phone 2. You're the second person to be reading this besides Ethan. And I just want you to know that the focus is more on Gwen this time around. And Ethan already loved that idea. And so I want to know your thoughts." I was obviously in love with the script. It was so good. Page Turner, instantly, obviously. Scott and Cargill are such incredibly talented writers. Um, but I was so happy that we get to dive deeper into Gwen's kind of, character. She has so many layers to her, and this second one is so much more emotional, and she deals with a lot. And I just feel like this second one, or like, this is what's so good about the Black Phone movies, is that it focuses on Gwen and Finney's relationship so much. Like, the story really is about them and their bond that they have. And so that's why I feel like it makes so much sense that the first one focused, on Finney and what he was going through. And so now this one is focusing on Gwen. I feel like you don't see that a lot, if at all, with horror movies, or just movies in general. And so that's why I found it very interesting. And I feel like it was the only right way to do the sequel, was to, have that focus change, but also see how Finn and Gwen have matured and how this trauma has stayed with them and changed them in all these like really sad sort of ways. And you get to see a lot of traumatic events in the second one as well.
And so can you tell me a little bit more about reuniting with Mason and Finney, and how in the first film, you're kind of doing your best to come to his aid. And in
I
this film,
know.
he's kind of returning the favor.
I
So
know. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, it's so cool how the roles are reversed. I feel like it's so interesting, and I feel like fans are really gonna love to see that on screen. It was awesome getting to return to Gwen and get to work alongside Mason again. We didn't really get to work, or we didn't really get to see each other a lot when filming the first movie. So it was nice to actually get to work alongside of each other a lot more in this one. And we love these characters so much, and we love playing them on screen. So I feel like I feel like it really shows on camera.
one of the things that stuck out to me too was some of the 80s dialogue that's thrown in
Yes,
there.
like
Like, I know you
the
get the
choice.
tickets, they're so mint,
Yes.
and also some of the insults that Gwen throws out in this movie. Were any of those improvised, or who was?
That's so funny. My dad was literally asking me that this morning. He was like, "Maddie, were any of those improvised, by the way?" No, they were not. I don't think those words were like really even in my vocabulary before this movie. So, they're not in my vocabulary now, but like, I didn't even really, it's not those aren't common words that I hear on my,
Probably a good thing.
yeah, on my day-to-day life. Also, yeah, a good thing. So no, it was definitely interesting saying that on set, in like, well, like my mom is like there. So it was definitely funny for, when my siblings saw the movie, and when my dad saw it, they're like, "But that's what makes Gwen Gwen, she's got that feisty side to her. And that's why we love her."
She does. Obviously, the grabber. We haven't, we talked about the mask, but he's a terrifying presence in the first movie when he's, alive, and in this one, almost more scary in the role that he takes. How was it working for you with Ethan more directly and the grabber? And can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. I didn't get to work with Ethan at all in the first movie. I saw him like once when we were doing the press tour. So I was definitely scared to be working with him, not only seeing him as the grabber and like how terrifying he is, but also because it's Ethan Hawke. And I'm such a fan. I mean, I'm such a fan of his work. He's so incredibly talented. And I feel like I love just listening to him speak because he's so wise. Like he has so much wisdom, especially in this industry. You can tell that he truly loves this art and what he does. And I feel like that's so inspiring, especially as a young actress. So working alongside him, I was so incredibly grateful. I learned so much from him. And I mean, it was just really scary, like really intimidating. I'm not gonna lie. He is so scary as the grabber, and seeing him go from like, I don't know, his character in Blue Moon, for example, to playing the grabber, it's honestly, it is mind boggling. Like he is seriously such an insanely talented actor. And I truly do aspire to be like him one day.
Is it a little bit surreal when you're on set and maybe he's giving advice or telling stories, but he's behind these prosthetics and mask and things like that?
Yes. I've been saying this in so many interviews, but it's so funny because he can't take the mask off a lot of the time because he had a lot of prosthetics on underneath. And so like him just casually like talking to Scott or like telling me good job, or like he'd be like humming or whistling, and it just seems so scary because he looks so terrifying, but he is actually so kind and genuine. So it was interesting for me to try and differentiate when he was in character and when he wasn't.
One of the things I really liked about Black Phone 2 is kind of a blending of horror subgenres. So like you have the ghostly part of it, but some of the ways in Gwen's dreams when interacting with things that aren't there, or she's physically being, moved about, is almost more what you would see in like a possession type movie and things like that. How was that kind of working in this horror film that kind of encompasses so much within the genre?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like one of the reasons why I love Black Phone so much is that it mixes a bit of the paranormal with real life situations, like real things that could happen. I feel like it's such a fascinating thing to watch on camera. And it's very interesting because you really don't know what's going to happen or the route you could go. And everything is just so extremely unexpected. And I feel like that's what's so great about it, is that it leaves you guessing. It keeps you guessing and on the edge of your seat. That's what's so great about horror movies, though, is that they take those risks,
Absolutely. And Gwen's dreams, give her insight into the past and the present and things. And this might be kind of an odd question, but like, do you do any research for the role in that way? Like, have you ever spoke to any mediums or something of the sort? Like, how do you kind of explore that as an actress whose character has these abilities?
Yeah, I mean, I actually thought a lot about this going into filming. I was like looking up scenes and like watching movies where like characters go through dream sequences and or wake up from nightmares and stuff. But what I realized going into that was that everyone's reactions are different. And so I feel like that's something that me and Scott talked about a lot, is that every reaction in the nightmares and outside of the nightmares, like when I wake up from them, should be different and should kind of escalate throughout the film. And I can pull from personal experience. Like I've had nightmares before plenty of times. And so I kind of my nightmares aren't as horrific as Gwen's are. Obviously.
I would hope not.
Yeah. But I was able to pull from that in a way, in the sense of we really truly just wanted them to all be different from each other and kind of escalate throughout the movie, because they do get worse. So
can we talk practical effects and things like that? Because there's a lot of, I don't think this is a spoiler to say for people fans of the genre, there's a lot of, blood and gore and things. And,
yeah.
And Gwen is getting wounds and things. So, can you tell me a little bit about the practical effects on set?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure almost everything that you see is practical. I mean, I'm sure they added stuff in post, but it's like, that was all, we were doing that on the day. One of the ghost kids' jackets that fogs up because I don't want to spoil anything, but it's got smoke on it. That was a smoke machine. They had a tube connected throughout his jacket. So cool. On my arm in a scene, I'm pretty sure everyone already knows this, but when I have a wound, they connected a tube and had blood squirt out of it. Yeah, everything was honestly very practical. But it does, it does add a level of stress because in case something doesn't turn out correctly, you know, or like something doesn't work on the first try. I have so much respect for the special effects makeup artists and just the practical effects team. They deserve so much credit for this movie. Oh my God, they worked overtime. And it just comes out so beautiful and just so sick on screen. And so like, of course, being there on the day, you know, it's so different. And then seeing how it turns out on screen, it's so awesome and mind-boggling.
Awesome. And I know we're almost out of time, so I just wanted to say, you know, I can't say anything about the fate of the grabber here or anything in the movie, but can you tell me, is there more to Gwen's story that can be told?
I mean, I think there's always more to characters and stories. I mean, Scott and Cargill they're so smart. I'm sure they could come up with something. And I mean, like, you could always dive deeper into, especially Finn and Gwen and their storyline. I mean, they have gone through so much, you know, and they have stories to tell. So you never know. But I mean, I do think I love the way the second one ends, and I love just the second one in general. I think there are moments when movies should go, or franchises, I guess now, should go out on a high. But I trust Scott and Cargill so much. So I don't know. You never know.
Awesome. Madeleine, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you today. Congratulations on Black Phone 2.
Thank you so much.